October 15th, 2015. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 83 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting next to me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So in order to release every other Thursday, like we like to do, we are actually recording early this week on Sunday morning because we didn't want to Thursday, we're actually heading to VIMF. We're flying out that day, and we didn't want to record the night before. You know, we wanted to spend time with our family because we won't see them for a little while we're in Vegas. So we're recording a little early this week in anticipation of releasing on Thursday. So hopefully you've downloaded this on Thursday, and if you're heading to VIMF, you can listen to us as you head out there, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, we're doing this prior to football watching.
I know, that's right. I had you come over early enough so we could get it done and then watch football all day.
I'm usually praying at this time in the day for the Chargers. And
well, they play tomorrow night.
I know,
so
I've got a lot more time to pray.
And you already lost the Thursday night game in our football pool, didn't you?
I'm probably out of the pool already.
You could be mathematically out of the pool.
Mathematically eliminated.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's jump into the scandals that have happened since our last show.
Okay.
The big one, and I'm sure everybody has heard about this because it's actually hit the mainstream news, is this daily fantasy sports scandal. Are you sick of seeing all these ads for DraftKings and
every
FanDuel?
other one? I'm sick of seeing the guy who invested $35 and won 2-point-something million.
Yeah, all right. I'm tired of him too. Oh man, you watch football. I mean, that's every other ad is like that, right? So, anyway, so the allegations are that an employee at DraftKings used data from DraftKings to make bets at FanDuel.
And he was kind of high up there employee. He was like an executive with them. It wasn't just like some flunky in the mailroom.
Right.
This is like some guy who has access to everything.
Right. So in a way, this is kind of like inside information, except it's a little different because this employee was using data from his own company to then make bets at another company.
Yeah, but the data at his company, since they're in the same business, is probably fairly accurate.
Right, yeah. So
what they're looking at is which teams or which players people picked.
Exactly, yes. So chances are that it's going to be similar over
very
at FanDuel.
similar.
Right. There is some debate as to whether or not this information was available only to employees at DraftKings, or there's some speculation that this data was released early, like before the games had started, and so that maybe it was open to the general public. Either way, this guy was using information from his own company to gain an advantage by betting at FanDuel. And let's kind of explain what that means. He's looking at what people have bet on.
Right.
And he's using that information to bet a little bit differently.
Right. Therefore, increasing his odds of winning if the players he picks do well. There'll have been fewer people who actually pick those players.
Exactly. Right. And kind of a good analogy is you've probably heard like people say if you bet on the lottery, don't pick your own numbers, do a random quick pick.
Right.
And the reason is it doesn't mean you're more likely to win. It just means that if you do win, you're less likely to have to split the money with other people.
Right.
Because
you're more likely to make an individual pick.
Right. Because a lot of people, when they make lottery picks, they pick birthdays and ages and stuff like that. So there are certain numbers that are going to be picked more than others. So again, it doesn't necessarily increase your odds of winning, but it does increase your odds of winning more if you do win.
Correct.
And that's kind of what was happening here. He was looking at what people were betting on, and he bet a little bit differently so that...
Yeah, if everyone was picking a certain, say, tight end in a football game, then he might pick another tight end on a different team who's still good, but fewer people would have picked him. So if he did win, he got his points if that guy did well.
Right. If he got lucky, that's one way of putting it for that week.
For that week, he'd win.
Yeah. So anyway, the New York Attorney General is investigating. And meanwhile, both DraftKings and FanDuel are now prohibiting their employees from betting on daily fantasy sports, period. You know, I'm sure they already said you can't bet, you know, within your own company, but now, you know, you can't bet anywhere. Whatever. See, this scandal was inevitable.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's like no oversight on this. Here's what happened. A few years back, the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, which contributed to online poker leaving the United States, this act specifically excluded fantasy sports.
Now, why was that?
I don't know exactly why. Maybe there were some lobbyists. Maybe there were some congressmen who were in like fantasy leagues, right? And wanted to continue to do that, not anticipating that it would become this huge industry.
You mean a congressman would do something kind of shady, kind of like hanky-panky?
I don't want to go that far, Mike. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to go that far.
I can't believe that would happen to a U.S. congressman.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Okay. You know, how often do you see congressmen embroiled in scandal? It's not that often.
It's not that often.
So, you know, I don't want to go that far. This is what happened. And see, the thing is, they say that it's not gambling. Right? You constantly hear that.
How can you say it's not gambling?
Just because you say, when you look at the ads, it says this is not a gambling website.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I could create a casino and say the same thing. You know, this is not a gambling spot.
Yeah. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that, well, you know why it's not gambling is because there's some skill behind it. Right?
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah. Okay. I go along with that. But you know what else has skill behind it? Poker.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's video poker even.
Right. Yeah. Right? I mean, or just any kind of sports betting.
Right.
Right. Has some skill behind it.
It's frustrating because, we all know it's gambling.
Yep.
Everybody knows it's gambling, but it's not regulated for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah. Right. For whatever reason, you know, maybe it eventually will be, but you know, even if this particular scandal hadn't come up, it would have in some form or another. What's to prevent an employee, say, from just after the games have already started or after the whole week is over, making an entry, making it look like it had been done beforehand.
Sure.
Right. And then just you know, collecting, right?
Making an entry for, say, your cousin.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, not for yourself, just for somebody, a friend, and then just splitting the money afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, how many times do insiders hook up with outsiders?
Yeah.
And then split the money, right?
Exactly.
It happens in the stock market.
Yeah.
It happens in, gambling. It happens in sports betting. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah. So, you know, this isn't the end of it, and it might not even be the last scandal that we see.
No.
And is pretty, I understand that, you know, some of the ads have been pulled by some networks, but I saw ads this morning still.
Oh, I saw ads last night and this morning.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. This is kind of sanctioned by the NFL to a degree.
Oh, I know. That's the most hypocritical thing of all.
Well, the NFL is so above board and so good about everything.
Yeah.
I can't believe they'd align themselves with these hooligans.
I know. Once again, you know, NFL congressmen, they're without blemish.
Yeah.
And yet they associate with these types.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's another scandal too that didn't quite have as big an impact in the news, but certainly important to us here at Gambling with an Edge. So
here at Gambling with an Edge.
What did I say? Gambling with an Edge?
You said Gambling with an Edge.
So unbelievable.
You know what show we're on?
It's a little early in the morning.
Oh my God. And that's a little plug for Gambling with an Edge.
Yeah, it's a great show, everybody. I think we'll wrap up this episode. Thanks to everybody who clicked through our Amazon link. All right. See, even that's not even what we do at the end. We don't say thanks to everyone who's clicked. They do that over at Tipping the Odds Las Vegas.
Oh my God.
Let's never do this in the morning again.
We're in some interdimensional shift thing or something.
Here's this other scandal that's very important to us here at You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. 4 men were arrested for cheating at craps at the Bellagio over a period of 2 years. They cleared over $1 million.
Nice.
Cheating at the craps table, right? Here's how it worked. It was 2 players and 2 dealers who were involved in it. It was kind of like you said, right? A lot of times
inside and outside people.
Yeah. You know, it definitely, that's what casinos need to watch out for. Almost more than anything else is, you know, are their employees cheating them out of stuff?
Right.
You know, right. And in this case, one of the dealers and one of the players were brothers-in-law.
Oh,
so they were actually, you know, related in some way, right? So here's how they cheated. They were at the craps table, and when the dice were about to be thrown, one of the players would toss out a hop bet to one of these dealers, sometimes for as much as $500.
Okay.
And let's just explain a hop bet again. Hop bets are bets at the craps table. You're betting that the next roll is going to be a specific combination of the dice. So you could, you know, say, hey, give me a $5 hop bet on 5-3. And that would mean the next roll would have to be 5 on one die and 3 on the other.
Correct.
Right? And it pays 15 to 1.
And it's a hop, H-O-P.
H-O-P, hop bet.
Yeah,
right.
Just some people might be listening and thinking the hot bet.
No, yeah, sorry, with a P. Yeah. And it pays 15 to 1. If you're actually betting that a pair will come up, like a pair of threes, then it pays 30 to 1.
Yeah, because only one way to do that.
Right. But if there are two different values on the dice, then it pays 15 to 1. So what would happen is he'd throw in this bet, say, oh, give me a hot bet on blah, 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 and kind of not really say specifically what it was. And then if the dice came up, say 5-3, right, the dealer would say, oh yeah, I booked this guy's hot bet on 5-3. He won it, go ahead and pay. Now here's the thing, and you and I have talked about this for many years. On a lot of craps tables, the hop bet, there's no location on the felt for the hop bet.
No, they don't have it clearly marked. It's kind of like they just throw it up there and the dealer's supposed to remember what the guy bet.
And usually the bet goes right in front of the boxman and they tell the boxman, oh, this is the guy's hop 5-3.
Right.
And they just remember. And it's always been amazing to you and me because there's no way the eye in the sky can tell what that bet is.
Yeah, it's just a chip laying on a table.
Yeah, so that really surprises me. So it's not surprising that this scandal kind of came up the way that it did, this cheating.
And worked as well as it did.
Yeah. So, he would just, again, they'd just throw in the money, oh, here, blah, 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 and, to cover it, every once in a while they'd make a bet and it would lose, right? They wouldn't do it every time. They'd try to cover
if you're getting paid 15 to 1, you can lose some of them.
Right.
You could lose say 6 out of every 15. That means you'd win 9 out of every 15. You'd still be way ahead.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Right. Well, the odds of it actually happening are 1 in 18.
Right.
They pay 15 to 1, but it's 1 in 18. Right. But you're right. Exactly. So anyway, last year, a fellow dealer noticed some suspicious behavior and informed Bellagio management. So it was another dealer that kind of noticed, what? How,
I wonder after he informed him, how long it took him to actually stop it. I mean, because I'm sure what they did, they started watching the camera and seeing, same people making hop bets. I wonder how long it took.
I think it actually took a little while because, again, supposedly it was last year that this dealer.
Because if you're going to bring this up, you need to have evidence, right? I mean, if you accuse somebody wrongly, that could end up a lawsuit for the casino.
Yeah. So anyway, they've been convicted. They've been charged. One of the dealers apparently is pleading guilty and is going to testify, against the other 3.
I hope it's not the brother-in-laws.
Yeah, I know.
Because I would hate to see a marriage ruined over this.
That'd be a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those prison marriages are kind of nice.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Yeah. Those conjugal visits?
Oh, they're
good. I've heard.
Oh, you've heard.
I've heard.
You don't have a
I don't have a conjugal visit.
Oh, all right. Meanwhile, MGM, who owns the Bellagio, they now have put hot bets on their layout on the felt.
Okay.
And I think you were telling me last time you were at Caesars, they don't have hot bets.
No, they don't have it at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas.
It's amazing that for as long as we've been playing, it's only recently that they've started to put hot bets on layouts.
I make a lot of hot bets at Caesars Palace, usually to cover my hard ways when I parlayed it and we're coming out and I'll hop the hard way and have my hard ways off, or or during a roll, if I have a hard 8 that got up there and I don't have enough place bet to cover it, I'll hop the easy 8s.
Yeah.
And the dealer will usually book it. And the stick man sometimes is so busy doing other stuff, he doesn't even worry about it.
Yeah.
And then if it hits, he's like, okay, now what was that? And the dealer says, oh yeah, he was hopping the 5-3.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I mean, if I was friends with that dealer, he could say anything, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm surprised. One final little note. This is more rumor than anything else. One of the players, his name's Jeffrey D. Martin. He supposedly once played for the San Diego Padres.
Really?
And again, I couldn't verify it. The article that I read even said that they couldn't verify it. So maybe this might not be true.
Maybe he was in the minor league.
It may be something like that.
People say that, I played for the Padres and they were a minor league player.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's funny if he was a Padre. That all of a sudden this makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
The whole thing makes sense.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, when you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the cost of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal.
Don't click on Gambling with an Edge.
Yeah, don't go to their web. I don't even think they have an Amazon link. I don't think so. So a couple weeks back, we went up to Harris, Southern California, and we met up with listener Victor,
Yes, very nice.
He came in, a very nice guy. Yeah, we had a great time talking with him and playing with him. When we were there, we also noticed that they have a new game. Actually, our old host told us about this. They've introduced free bet blackjack, which we talked about on the show before. Not 3-bet blackjack, like we misheard that one time. Free bet blackjack.
Free.
Yeah. And so I played that a little bit with our friend Mary, who was up there too, and made some money. That was pretty fun.
I played it and did not make money.
Well, yeah, I'm
not good at free bet.
You're not good at free bet.
I can't even say it.
It's too early. Why did we decide to do this?
It's ridiculous.
But we played a little bit, and I said to your dad, I said, "Oh, hey, you're going to love this game. I think you're really going to like it." And he said, "Oh, I'm going to go play 3-card poker."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, okay,
he was
hesitant. Fine. That's right." But then later during the session, he was over at the table.
Yeah, he went over there,
and he said, "Oh, hey, look at this game," and said, I told you you'd like this."
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, when he'd lost all his money and we were walking back to the car, he said, "Yeah, Mark, you know that game you showed me is garbage."
It's garbage. That's what he said. It's garbage. But when we went by the table, he was so happy he was winning.
I know.
And then when he got wiped out, it was garbage.
But now it's garbage. You know, it's funny, that same trip too. Your dad was kind of hopping from table to table.
Yeah.
At one point, he was at roulette.
Yeah, he was at roulette.
And it's fun to watch him play roulette. He seems to like that every once in a while.
He does like it.
But I'm glad we were there for one of the spins, because at one point, he had bets on all 3 columns.
Yeah.
He had like the same amount on all 3 columns.
I think he had $5 on each column.
$5 on each column. So if you're familiar with roulette, the best you can do in that situation is break even. Right? Because 2 of them lose, and then one of them wins 2-1. That's the best you can do, because if 0 or 00 comes up, you lose all 3
of them. Yeah.
So luckily we were there to kind of say, "Hey, wait a second."
And he pulled one away, and luckily the one he pulled away was not the one that came up.
That's right.
Because then we would have felt terrible.
Yeah. I mean, betting on 2, that's okay, right? But, betting on 3, you don't want to do that.
He's just putting his money everywhere.
Yeah,
he played every game in the place that night.
It seems like it, yeah.
Except for craps. I think he played
That's true. He didn't play craps with us. And it was nice because when Victor finally showed up, then we started winning. Because prior to that, we were playing craps. We were doing terrible. Yeah. But then when Victor showed up, we actually had a good session.
We did have some good wins.
And it was good. It was funny because after we were done playing, we went over to the food court to wait for our food. And then we were talking to Victor for, I don't know, like a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. And your dad couldn't find us.
Right. He had run out of money. He couldn't find us. He was mad. He thought we had left and gone somewhere else.
Like we'd really leave him. He thought we had gone up to Paula. That we just, without telling him, just drove up to Paula. That's what he assumed. Up to Paula.
Yeah, we'll be back. Make yourself comfortable.
No, we were just out over by the food court.
He was mad just because he had lost all his money. Yeah. And when we got there, remember, we were playing craps and he went to a blackjack, or to his favorite slot machine, put in $35, I think he said, and cashed out for 300 and something.
Yeah, his night started great. Yeah,
it started great. And he was mad that he lost it all back playing 3-card poker and whatnot.
Yeah, and he says he's never going back to Harrah's. Did you hear him say that?
I heard him say that. I wouldn't be surprised if he went last night.
All right. So we got an email from Zach. And some background here. So on a previous episode, you remember we were talking about even money in blackjack. So when you get a blackjack and the dealer is showing an ace, you can just say, "Give me even money."
Yeah.
Right.
And you'll get paid even money.
You'll get paid even money whether or not the dealer has a blackjack.
Correct.
Right. And we told you that when you can only do that in 3-2 games. If you're playing at a 6-5 game, you can't do that. They don't even offer that.
Yeah, it'd be good if they did.
Yeah, it would be great if they did. But we were kind of confusing when we were explaining this, but we followed it up with, hey, if you're at a 6-5 table, you cannot ask for even money. Well, Zach told us that at the Monte Carlo in Las Vegas, you can ask for even money at a 6-5 table. Yeah.
And they pay even money. That's a great deal.
That's right. And the thing, it's funny because the pit boss there was saying, "Oh yeah, we don't really, advertise this, but it's kind of a nice little boost for the player, a little, nice thing for the player," which is so ridiculous. You want to do something nice for the player.
Yeah, don't have 6-5.
Exactly. Like they're doing us a favor.
That's what I would have said to the guy. Hey, you want to do something really nice? Get rid of your goddamn 6-5 tables and make them all 3-2.
Well, anyway, at least at Monte Carlo, they will give you even money if you ask for it when you have a blackjack and the dealer is showing an ace. If that is the case, you absolutely should take even money. In fact, it's a mistake not to take even money.
Right.
Just based on the math. The EV on taking even money is just 1. It's even money. It's just 1.0. Right. That's the EV. The EV on not taking even money on a single deck 6-5 game is around 0.83, which is significantly less than 1, right? So you absolutely want to. And so if you are at a 6-5 table and the dealer is showing an ace and you've got blackjack, ask if you can take even money. In most cases, they'll say no, in which case just play it out normally, right? But if they do say yes, go for it.
Yeah.
And just to emphasize too, any other time at a 6-5 table, like any blackjack table, don't take insurance. Okay. So again, this even money is related to insurance. Okay. So take even money when you can on a 6-5 table only, but don't take insurance under any other circumstances, and don't take even money at a 3-2 table.
You'll probably never have to worry about that.
Me?
Yeah, no, anybody, because there'll be no 3-2 tables.
Oh, in the long run, there'll only be 6.
In the very near future.
Yeah. All right, let's go to our voicemail hotline. Don't forget, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Chris.
Hey guys, my name is Chris. I'm in Keller, Texas. I called before about Margaritaville Casino over in Shreveport. This past weekend, we actually went up to Shreveport and we made a stop there because we were going to go to New Orleans. We stayed at El Dorado Casino over there, and I just wanted to tell you something that they did. I had talked about at Margaritaville, no matter how crowded they were, they had a $5 craps table, and I thought that was really, really good for the customer. Well, another thing that I saw that I thought was really good was when we were at El Dorado, they had $10 blackjack tables. And, I told my wife, I was like, hey, we hadn't played blackjack in forever. Why don't we try it out? Well, we walked around. Well, then we saw a part of the room that was kind of off in the back, and there was about 3 tables there of blackjack. And I looked, and it was $5 tables. So what they did was, because all the $10 tables were crowded, they pretty much just put out 3 tables and said, you know what, these are going to be $5 minimum. Come and play if you want. If you don't, that's fine. So I thought that was just a really good PR move, and just wanted to let you guys know about it. Love the show. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, that's great. $5 blackjack tables.
Yeah, so kind of off to the side, it sounded like?
Yeah, hidden blackjack tables. How often are you going to see that?
Yeah, I wonder if they opened them up like after they saw how crowded the $10 tables were getting. But it's kind of interesting that the cheaper, I guess that makes sense. Having the cheaper tables kind of off, on their own, with maybe a little harder to find.
You have to search for them.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
But it's great for people. I mean, $5 blackjack table. My dad would love that.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
you could while away your time, sit there and play $5 blackjack. You might get lucky and win some money.
Yeah,
that's a great deal. And why don't casinos do that on a regular basis?
I know, we've talked about it. It would be nice, just to always have some kind of low limit table. Yeah, now it might get crowded.
Oh, it'll be crowded. It'll definitely be crowded. It's like, was it at Vimp last year where there was a $5 craps table at Caesar's Palace?
No, it wasn't at Vimp. It was actually a trip you took that I wasn't on because you were telling me about it. Yeah, at Caesar's Palace, like on a Friday night.
On a Friday night in the separate section, that section over by the Forum Shops.
Right, kind of by the sports book and the Forum Shops.
Right, they had one craps table there, and it was a $5 craps table.
Yeah.
It was packed. I mean,
of course.
They could not have gotten any more people on there. Yeah. And, there were people standing behind waiting for a spot to open. Yeah. But, that's great.
Yeah, I agree.
It keeps people in your casino too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, maybe somebody wins there and, I'm going to go try that $15 table over there.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let's hear from Victor, who we met last week at Harrah's, Southern California.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Victor calling here from Southern California. It was great meeting you guys a little bit back over at Harrah's, Southern California. Hope to do that again soon. Little mini report here. I got a chance to head out again to the San Manuel Indian and Bingo Casino, and wanted to tell you a little bit about that. I saw that the blackjack looks pretty good. Kind of usual rules that you'd hope for. Everything in the house is 3-2 blackjack. I confirmed that with a couple of dealers. Doubling on any 2 cards, surrender being allowed. Pretty much everything being dealt out of a shoe or an automatic shuffler. Nothing smaller than that. Usual dealer hitting on soft 17 though, but otherwise pretty good stuff. It's a nice casino, really pretty new, lots of places to sit and have a drink, something to eat. lots of space in terms of square footage, lots of space dedicated to table games. There's an upstairs and a downstairs, but it is packed with slot machines, and there's a lot of people, so really a little bit claustrophobic. Having said that, they do also have the house money tables that you were referring to a bit back, and they had quite a few of them actually, with the usual side bet with the payouts you talked about, ace king suited 9-1, straight flush 4-1, pair 3-1, and straight paying 1-1. Craps table. So there's one craps table in the place. Rules looked pretty typical. They had a minimum bet of $10 when I was there, and it's been that way. So I think that's pretty consistent. Don't know that for sure, though. Max bet of 500, 3, 4, 5 times odds. The field paid 2 times on the 2 and the 12, so no 3 times pay on that. However, the cards are being pulled out of one single automatic shuffler. They pulled 2 cards with a picture of the dice, 1 die on each of the cards. So I don't know if you want to talk about what that does to the odds, or if that would be worth a trip out there still for you. Again, I really wanted the casino and asked just to make sure it is one table, and it was just absolutely packed with people. So that's unfortunate. And it does make me wonder, like, what's the real economics of that? You know, I wonder if you guys would speculate on that. You know, if you take I don't know, what is it, 100 square feet they might need to put a table in there. You know, if you look at the table plus the space they need around it, they cleared out that many slot machines and put a craps table in there. Like, really, what's the cost differential for them over the course of a year? Because it seems to be something that you see in a lot of the local casinos, and even in the Vegas casinos, obviously. It's always an interesting aspect of the business, I think, is understanding how the casinos are making these decisions. Got out to Vegas actually recently with my brother-in-law. He was heading out to boot camp and he had a quick trip. And one of the dealers kind of took him under his wing and pulled him aside and really just started showing him the basics of it and keeping it extremely simple. And, talking about showing people the game. I appreciated that he was really teaching them not how to play the game, but that the game was playable by just keeping it super simple. And I pulled him aside and really talked to him more about the odds of one number versus the next, which worked out well. So alone probably wouldn't have been a good lesson, but with us together, I think it was good. Anyway, looking forward to seeing you guys next weekend in Vegas. And all right, keep up the great work. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Victor. Yeah, this last weekend, we actually went up to Paula, you and I, and you played that house money bet.
I played that house money. I didn't have good luck.
No, you only bought in for $100 and played. No. There wasn't enough room for both of us, so I just watched you play. Yeah,
and it was, it just wasn't good for me. I didn't get good hands.
Well, you never got a winning house money payout, right?
No,
you never
I
had
never
a pair,
got
you never had a straight.
I bet $5 on house money the whole time. I never got a winning bet. So that, I don't know how many hands do you think I played? Like 10?
Yeah, maybe something
so
like
that's
that.
$50 right there on that.
Just
and then,
on that,
Yeah, and I had a couple of blackjack hands that won.
Yeah.
But overall, my hands were terrible.
Yeah, usually.
The one I actually got a pat hand on, the dealer busted anyway, right?
That's right. And it was a 6-5 table, single deck. That was the only, for the house money bet, that's all they offered. There was single deck. 6-5,
right? That's all you could offer. And I just wanted to play to see how that house money thing turned out. But it didn't turn out well for me.
No, again, we were there just briefly. So, it might be fun to play in the future, but,
I don't know how much I'd play.
I'd rather do free bet blackjack based on playing both of them now at this point. Yeah, definitely. So now, as far as the casino floor space and everything goes, the thing is really, a bank of slot machines taking up as much space as a craps table is going to make a casino more money than a craps table.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely make you more money.
Right. So, the casinos do kind of have a dilemma. I know we complain about places that only have 1 or 2 craps tables, but a lot of time they're just thinking, well, we don't make that much money on craps.
Right.
So I think at San Manuel, they're probably just thinking, well, let's have at least one table to get people in the door.
Right. Because there might be people who want to play craps, come in, table's full. Then while they're waiting for a spot to open, they go play some blackjack or they play some slots, which is what they really want you to do. Why not this? Why not build a casino that's so goddamn big that you can fit as many things in there as you want?
That's a good idea. I wonder if anybody's thought of that.
Just build a big one. Why build a small casino? Build a big one. I wish there was a casino that wanted to wrap as craps casino. Okay, this is where you go to play craps. We've got 10 tables. There's plenty of room. We always have different limits. We have a $5 table. We have a $25 table. We got a $100 table. Whatever you want, you can find.
Well, it would be nice too if then they said stuff like, oh, our prop bets pay more than other casinos. Right. Or like our hardways. In Australia, my understanding is that on like hard 8 and hard 6, it pays 9.5 to 1.
Right.
Instead of 9 to 1. Right. You know, they could do that here, right?
They could do that here and still make money.
Yeah. But here's the thing. With a craps table, you've got a minimum of 5 employees.
Right. That's the problem. That's the big problem.
4 people at the table at any time, plus somebody's on break, right? So, and that's the thing, you know, it's personnel. When you've got slot machines, you don't need any personnel there. It's running 24/7.
Right. And you know, the blackjack, excuse me, let me start over. Boy, it is early on a Sunday. And I usually get up at 4:30 every morning to go to work. But Sunday, I like to sleep in. Yeah. At the craps tables, they usually, in most of the Indian casinos anyway, close them down.
Oh, see, that's the other thing.
Yeah, like at Harrah's Southern California, there's a time at the end of the night where they'll all be closed and they won't open again till the morning. Yeah. Slot machines never close.
Right, exactly. Right. And, you know, you could have, it's like, how many personnel do you need for a certain day, right? I mean, do you want dealers just standing around, which can happen too, right? You know, for hours on end.
Yeah, you could open 4 tables, you could open them all, and for whatever reason, it's a slow night and everyone's just standing around. Yeah. A slot machine doesn't matter if it's slow or busy, right? It doesn't take much.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the card craps that Victor says they use up at San Manuel. Okay, so it's an automatic shuffle machine full of cards that have, each card has a picture of one die on it.
Right.
Right? Okay, so what he's saying is that for every roll, they take out one card and turn it over. Maybe it's just a picture of a die with a 5 on it. Then they take out another card and turn it over. Maybe it's a picture of a 3. Right? Okay. So the roll would be 8.
Right.
Okay. So if this is the way that they do it, then the odds are not the same as real craps.
Well, how many cards are in there?
Well, see, that's the thing. I asked Victor if he knew. He didn't know.
Because if it was 6 cards,
right? It was just 6 cards.
You'd be in trouble.
You'd never get a pair. Yeah,
you'd never get a pair. But I mean, is there 12 cards?
Yeah. See, it's got to be more than that. I imagine it's a bunch of cards.
I imagine it's something like 36 or something.
Oh, I think even more than that. That would be my guess, but we'll see. Yeah. But see, here's the thing, right? This automatic shuffling machine is just full of cards that have pictures of all the sides of each side of the die, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's all it is. As soon as you take out that first card, like in my example, you turn it over and it's a 5.
Yeah, there's one 5 missing.
There's one less 5 in that automatic shuffling machine.
Harder to get a hard 10.
So it is harder to get a hard 10. Now, the more cards that are in that machine, then the closer it comes to actual real craps. Right. And, you know, the more the chances are of hitting another 5. Right. As it turns out, this game is not all that vulnerable to advantage play. It is slightly better for the don't player.
Slightly.
Depending on how many cards were actually in that shuffle machine and depending on the odds that they let you take. And Victor said it was 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
A don't player might have an advantage. It would only happen though if there were only a few cards in the machine and the odds were like 10 times odds. Right. I remember at Viejas here in town, they had a similar game to this and you did have an edge as a don't player. It was small and you had to bet a lot of money. So it was pretty volatile.
Right.
But in this case, I would say it's not worth, quitting your job and going up to San Manuel, but a don't player has a slightly better chance than a don't player playing in a regular craps game.
Right.
The don't is a little bit
so
better.
You would advise playing the don't there.
Well, I mean, see, the thing is,
in a short run, anything can happen.
Right. You could advise playing the don't anywhere because the don't pass and don't come do have a slightly lower house edge than just pass and come bets, right? Here it would be just even lower still. And that's a good point. The pass line and come, the house edge would be a little bit higher too because of these cards.
Right. Well, all this being said, here's the thing that bothers me the most about the cards like that. Mm-hmm. You don't get to see them.
Yeah, I know.
They don't, unless you're there in the morning when they put them in and they say, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times.
Yeah.
And they show them all and they put them in there. Otherwise, you don't see it. You walk up to that table. How do you know how many cards are in there?
No, I know.
How do you know a 4 hasn't been taken out, right?
Yeah. Now, the thing is, if it was skewed in some way, it would probably help the pass and the come player, right? I mean, the casino, it's worth it to them to really have the correct ratio in there.
Right. But
you're right.
It could easily be skewed on mistake, right?
Oh, yeah.
By mistake.
By mistake. And let's say in your example, a 4 is missing and you're just betting hard 8 all night.
Right.
Yeah. That hurts
you're not going to get another hard 8.
Sure.
So that's the thing I don't like about that. And I am surprised that the Gaming Commission lets that go on.
Well,
they're so stupid. They're so worried about dice. right?
Yeah, in California.
Right? And this is way easier to screw things up.
Yep.
Even unintentionally screw things up, right? Why not just have dice?
I know.
And then it won't get screwed up.
It's the letter of the law. That's what it comes down to. That's why they're coming up with all these.
I wished I was an attorney. I would file some kind of, I don't know, suit, injunction, whatever you call it, to get the
yeah, but you know what would happen? It would be like asking a genie for $1 million, right? It would work against you. Suddenly they'd close down all the
deer.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, they'd close down all the craps tables. They'd say, okay, to get around this lawsuit, we're going to close everything down, and you're the villain suddenly.
There's just no winning in this world.
No, there's not.
You know who sets these rules?
Who?
Candy apple people.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, candy apple people who like candy apples. They're the ones who come up with these rules.
We had a big discussion about how there are two types of people in the world, people who like candy apples and people who like caramel apples.
Yeah. And if the caramel apple people were in charge, we'd have dice.
Yeah. It's true. Can't argue with that.
No.
I don't think anything else can be said about that. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Okay, VIMF. So, again, hopefully you're listening to this on your way to VIMF. On Thursday, we're going to post this episode super early, but you probably know that because you're listening to it. Anyway, let's talk about VIMF, a couple things that have come up. One announcement that came up since our last episode is Derek Stevens now wants all of you to help him design his new casino.
Well, I've already said it needs to be big.
Okay. Well, now it's the old Las Vegas Club, so he only has a certain amount of room to work with.
Well, God, it'd be great if it was like a craps casino, just craps.
Okay, that'll be our suggestion. Because you make it just craps.
Yeah, he can just, poo-poo that right away because it's stupid, but it's my suggestion.
He's giving a tour of the property on Saturday morning at 11 a.m., and so, come with your suggestions. Tim Dressen from 500, he already posted something on Twitter saying that each slot machine should have a USB charging station at it.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And just
actually, that's a good.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah,
that's a good idea. It's not stupid like our stuff.
And even like at the tables, at the stool, have a place where you can charge your phone. Yeah, that would be
maybe not all of them. Maybe just certain ones.
Well, I mean enough
a fair
that
amount of them.
Yeah. So anyway, here is our schedule for VIMF. We're actually not getting in till 9:45 on Thursday night. And we're renting a car. So by the time we go through all that, I think the earliest we could get to our rooms we're staying at Golden Nugget that first night. The earliest would be 11 o'clock. And I think that'd be if we really were getting there fast.
Right. That'd be really fast. Yeah. I'm thinking more like midnight.
Yeah, it'll be something like that. Now,
which means we can only play until like 4 or 5.
Well, now, as I've told you, I'm going straight to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know I'm going to take a lot of grief for it, but oh well, you've seen me do this before in Vegas where we get in late.
You put on your little tutu and go to bed.
That's fine. I have no trouble. I'll take all the insults because it's going to be such a long weekend. And we do our show on on the Sunday, the last day, and I just don't want to be completely wiped out. Plus, I'm not, you're the same. I'm not going to sleep well the night before Wednesday night.
No.
Because I'm going to be too excited about going.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be exhausted Thursday night. So the most I might do, I might go down to the ABC store and buy like a bunch of Gatorade, all the stuff that I need for the weekend.
Set yourself up.
For the room. Yeah. But other than that, I'm going straight to bed.
You shouldn't do that because you're just at Nugget for one night. And then if you're going to go over to,
I'm going to the D after that. Yeah.
The D after that. Yeah. You'll have to take all your stuff with you.
Oh, that's okay.
You should buy it the next night.
Maybe I will. All right. I'll think about it.
You have to revamp your schedule.
Bottom line, I'm going to bed. Right.
All right. You go to bed.
You go to bed. Yeah.
Now, see, I work all day on Thursday.
No, that's
and
right.
my brain's going to be like sharp.
Okay.
It's going to be like.
Because you worked all day?
Because I worked all day. I'm thinking, I'm concentrating. That plane will get me a little down. It'll bring me down a little, but not enough that I can go right to bed.
All right. So tons of events all weekend long, and go to VegasInternetMafia.com to look it up. Also, Hunter has created a VIMF app for iOS devices. So download that. You can get the schedule and everything else. We're going to be doing our show on Sunday in the D showroom. Okay. It starts at 2:00. Actually, it's 2:00 is when everything starts in the D showroom, including bingo. And right at 2:00, it's going to be Admiral Hillegas and the Bingo Cheaters. I have no idea what that is. Maybe it's a band.
I don't know. It sounds.
It's Hunter's doing something, but who knows? We'll see what that is. Then we're probably going to be going on about 2:30. After us, around 3:00, will be Denton, Dallas, and Beyond. They'll be doing their show. And then around 3:30, they've got something called VIMF All-Stars. And again, we don't know exactly what that is. But bingo is going to be going on the entire time.
Okay.
And they've actually posted the bingo rules. I'll put a link to that in our show notes. But they've posted the bingo rules. There's going to be a total of 6 games during that whole period going on, right? Each game is a different pattern that you have to make. and you get a certain percentage of the pool, the money pool. And then the very last game is a total blackout cover-up, and that has the biggest prize.
My wife said, by the way, you can buy daubers at the Dollar Tree stores.
Oh, okay.
For $1.
They might even have it at the ABC store. That's the other thing, too. Bring your own dauber, because the D doesn't have dedicated bingo there. If you don't have a dauber, they do have bingo at the Plaza downtown, so you could probably go down to the Plaza to their gift shop or maybe to their bingo room and buy daubers when you're there. But please bring your own dauber.
I can probably just use blood from my finger because from throwing dice all weekend.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Just use your dauber. Oh, this is my dauber. We'll probably play not during our show, but when we're not actually on stage, we'll probably play. You can play for as little as $10. For $10, you'll get a pack of 6 on cards. That means 6 bingo cards on one sheet for each of the games. You can do that for as little as $10. And if you want to buy more, it's $5 per packet, up to a total of 5. 5 is the most that you could have. And if you don't want to play bingo, you don't have to. You can just come and watch the show. So you can get in, you don't have to play. But if you want to, you can do so, for as little as $10.
My dad will not play bingo.
No.
Probably. No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Anybody else in your family?
My brother probably will.
Okay, good.
While he's there. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And don't forget also on Friday morning and Saturday morning at 10 a.m., both days, we are going to be at the Golden Gate, not Golden Nugget, Golden Gate, having craps sessions. And we'll give tutorials on people who have never played before. Even if you've played just a little bit, we'll try to go through all the important aspects of the game and teach you some good ways to play. Again, we can't teach you how to win, but we can teach you some of the better ways to play mathematically.
There's 2 tables there at Golden Gate?
Last time I thought that there were two, but I can't even remember.
I thought there
now.
were 2. I hope we can get a table.
Oh, we'll get on. See, this is what I'm saying. Even if we're not on a live table, we can at least teach the game. If one of the tables is empty,
right.
At least we can teach the game and say, okay, here's the layout, here's where you want to do. And, that might be better than actually trying to do it at an open table.
It's going to be a little odd when you and I are standing where the dealers stand.
Yeah.
And the people are lined up around the table and we bring out fake chips and start laying them down. And people at the Golden Gate, do they work here?
We might get kicked out. Yeah, we might. But anyway, we are so amazingly excited about doing it. This week is going to go so slow, Mike, for us. Again, listeners, you're listening to on Thursday. You're on our way. This Sunday for us.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's going to go fast for me.
Why?
Because Monday I've got a doctor's appointment for a colonoscopy.
Oh, you're doing that tomorrow?
No, I'm not having the colonoscopy. The pre-op is tomorrow. And then the colonoscopies after we get back.
Oh.
So I've got that to look forward to while I'm at VIM. And I may not need it. I'm going to tell the doctor I might not need this colonoscopy when I get back. I might have already had it in Vegas.
That's right. At the craps table.
At the craps
appropriately
table.
enough.
Right. Standing up and awake. So Monday's going to go by quick for me.
Okay.
And then it's the Charger game. Right?
Oh, that night. That's right.
So that night it's going to go quick. It's just Tuesday and Wednesday I have to get through.
All right.
Thursday will go by quick because, I'll be pushing everybody. Look, we can't do that procedure today.
And I'm taking Thursday off. So hopefully that'll go well for me. Yeah. My boss said, Mark, you got too much time off coming. You need to take some time off.
You should go to Vegas.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank a couple people for some PayPal donations. First, Todd Goddess, author of How a Math Nerd Plays Craps, available for free on our site.
Yes, very good info for everybody.
Yep.
Should have that.
Thanks, Todd. And also our pal Jim, thank you for the PayPal donation. We played Pie-Gow Tiles with Jim in Atlantic City. Here's what he wrote. He said, have fun at VIMF. Can't wait to hear all the great Vegas stories. I would love to be there, but I'm having work done on my number 5 and number 12 on Friday. Are those hard teeth to get to? Or
no, they're not. They're the upper first bicuspids.
Okay.
So.
All right. I guess I'll be at home over the weekend gingerly masticating.
Yeah.
It sounds dirtier than it is.
Yeah, it's the best way to masticate gingerly. Right. You get chafed if you do it too hard.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS. or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We always tweet when we're in a casino or on our way to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you, and we're going to be tweeting like crazy when we're at VIMP.
You're going to be tweeting.
Me. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. Okay, go.
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking to myself, after VIMP, people are going to be thinking, those guys are idiots.
Yeah. I think this is going to be rough, I think, when people meet us in person. It's like, oh, you're the guys?
You're the guys?
Okay.
I got to go.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.